Welcome back to another installment of our Airstream Carport build, or as we're calling it, the Airport.
I like it. This is a permanent metal building that will cover our Airstream while we build our house. Now, if you haven't seen the introduction, planning, and design video, make sure you get caught up here where we kind of explain the whole project. And don't forget the second step where we pour the concrete pad.
Now, you may remember that this metal truss cover is a custom design, prefabricated building from our friends over at Miracle Truss.
They're super DIY friendly, so our next step after the pad was poured was to wait on the materials to be delivered.
We've mentioned before that the summer of 2022 has been a minefield of delivery delays, high gas prices, incredible monsoon season.
Lots of wrenches were thrown into our plans over and over again.
So many delays.
While high gas prices were making some delivery drivers a little nervous to drive cross country, thankfully the steel trusses got made quickly. We only had to wait a little bit for someone to pick it up and head our way.
It was really nice seeing that whole building on a trailer arrive at our property.
One issue we ran into early on was that we had to actually get those materials off of the flatbed truck.
Yes, and you may know that we do not have a tractor, so we had to call around, and we finally found a neighbor that had a forklift on his tractor, so he was able to come out and help us get it unloaded.
Yeah, because they were all bound together and they were really heavy. We could have taken each piece off individually, but goodness, That would have been the whole thing.
So a huge thanks to Bob and George who let us borrow their tractor and forklift to get this off.
So what exactly did we get in this delivery?
Well, the main structure is built out of metal trusses. These trusses are separated into 4 pieces, a left column, a right column, and 2 top pieces. Our building has a total of 4 trusses, so we had 16 pieces total. They also delivered cross-bracing poles with threaded ends, cord bracing angles, and all the metal roofing, trim, and hardware for everything.
Just a few more things about what to do once these items get delivered. Number 1, all materials need to be set on raised blocks to prevent rust. Number 2, the trusses need to be unbound from each other if sitting for a long time, or else the constriction can cause bends or warps and temperature changes. Number 3, the metal roofing panels should be taken out of their plastic to prevent rusting.
Now, the one thing Miracle Truss does not include in their delivery is lumber. The whole idea behind this building is steel for what?
Strength.
The whole idea behind this building is steel for strength and wood for flexibility.
This means that while they prefabricate the metal pieces, they design it in a way where you can use standard dimensional lumber to assemble. You'll see what we mean later. It's kind of hard to explain.
Lumber is not included in the price that you'll get from Miracle Truss. They do provide a cut list for you so that it's up to you to have that lumber delivered to your project.
Yeah, so for us, we needed 40 2x8x12 boards. We got 50 just in case because Arizona lumber sucks.
Behind me, there is a huge pile of 50 2x8s that are 12 foot long, and to preserve them, we're going to be burning them. It's an ancient Japanese technique called Shou Sugi Ban, and we're going to be burning it, scraping that ash, then adding a mixture of linseed oil and mineral spirits to seal it. Doing this helps preserve the wood for our desert climate, and It helps protect against insects getting into that wood. So we're gonna get started on that today. We probably won't finish it because it's extremely late, but we're gonna get started. Unfortunately, it's just gotten too dark, so we only got like 6 boards done. We have 50 to do. We'll be back tomorrow and finish it up. All right, we're gonna see if we can finish where we left off last night. We're gonna start burning all that wood. We have a pile of 50 boards. We've got 6 done, so do the math. How many more do we have? Leave it in the comments below. Just kidding, don't.
So after you burn and char that wood, you're gonna take a stiff bristle brush and you're gonna brush all that char off and really push that into the pores of the wood. And you come back with your linseed oil, you brush it in, you wipe it in so that it preserves the wood. So, we got a lot of work to do. Let's get started. If you're thinking about Shou Sugi Banning your wood, you are likely in the desert, and so you have to think about fire safety, right? This is a big propane torch. It's putting out a lot of heat and a lot of fire, and the last thing we want to do is to start a wildfire in the area of which the desert is very prone to. So a couple of tips. First is keep your boards up off the ground, so we use cinder blocks to do that. Make sure that where you are burning is a clear area. There's no grass, there's no weeds, it should be mostly just dirt. And also when you're burning, just stay away from that propane tank. And finally, have close access to water just in case. And probably the most important thing is wind. The area we live in the high desert, we get high winds, often in the afternoon. So we have only been doing this wood burning in the morning then we stop middle, late in the day, and then right now it's slowed back down, so we're working on it again. The wind is really the thing that can take a tiny spark and blow it and really start a wildfire. So fire safety, keep all that in mind, and enjoy your Shou Sugi Ban. Time to move the job site. All of our tools are up the chicken garden. All of our scaffoldings are up the chicken garden. So we got to get all that and bring it over to the cement pad.
Alright friends, our concrete pad has been poured. It's cured enough that we can start working. We have our materials. We have our wood burned. We are ready to get this thing started.
But first, a few important notes. The first is that this is a DIY building and we are not experts. We are probably going to make mistakes, so you don't have to. In our haste to get this building up, there are definitely times when we did not follow the safest of protocols.
We probably should have had like hard hats and some proper footwear, but we'll mention those later on.
And finally, a quick disclaimer that while Miracle Truss is not sponsoring this video, we are working together. And so we're creating some marketing materials from this build for them to use to offset the cost of this building for us just a little bit. But otherwise, the cost of the entire project, everything that we're buying, the concrete pad, all the water catchment stuff, the electrical, it's all coming out of our pockets. We do have an affiliate relationship with Miracle Truss, so if you get to the end of the series and you think a Miracle Truss building might be right for you, and you call them and say, hey, we saw the thing on Tiny Shiny Home, then we get a small commission. Are we done?
Yeah.
We're done disclaiming?
Uh-huh.
Okay, let's get going.
Started.
We
I
both
said
said
started
it.
and you said going. Let's messed it all up.
Sorry, guys.
Hey babe,
Hey, babe.
how are we putting this thing up?
It's a good question. The instructions from Miracle Truss show several different ways, but really it's up to us because this is a DIY building.
We're gonna get creative, right?
Yeah, we're gonna improvise for sure.
I think we should start with the columns
Okay.
and we'll set them in place and bolt them down.
And
That way they stay vertical.
Yes.
They're not gonna move.
Okay, I like it.
Good start?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, FYI, these trusses are very top heavy because they're smaller at the bottom, they're bigger at the top. So it ended up taking 4 of us to sort of safely lift those up by hand into place. Now, obviously, this is not a great long-term solution to just put your vertical columns up and they're only held down by the bolt anchors. So what you want to do is you want to get one up and then get your second one up and then use your Girt Boards and screw those into the welded clips as you go down the line to add some structural integrity to the whole thing.
Let's try the first side. No hands. You see what the problem here?
I didn't even look at the top. It's the wrong way.
Yeah. So this column actually needs to go on that side because the flat side here goes on the outside.
Yeah.
So make sure you read your instructions before you put it in place.
Read them 4 times.
We've read them so many times.
One thing that's cool is that Miracle Truss actually labels each truss, And on your plans, they give you a letter and a number because they're supposed to be turned certain ways. And this really helps us to make sure when we're spending all this energy putting these things up, we're doing it in the right order. So we went 1, 2, 3, 4 on that side. We're coming back this way, so we're 4, 3, 2, 1. So jet, A2. Let's go. All right, we took a lunch break. I'm going to explain to you the process via the Miracle Truss logo. So what we have done is we put these columns up right here. We're going to get ready to put these columns up, but we have to wait until our oldest daughter gets back from work to help us lift those up. So in the meantime, we're going to take the top parts of the trusses, the left and the right one, and we're going to bolt them together and lay them on the ground and get ready for the crane truck tomorrow.
Did you say crane truck?
I did. Sorry. We got ahead of ourselves. So let's back up. We need to put the vertical columns in place, and then right after that, we need to come back with what was supposed to be a telehandler and put the top truss pieces into place and bolt those all together, and then connect with even more purlins, the 2x8s. However, telehandlers were not available. We had to get creative. It's a long story, and we'll cover that in the next video.
Plans from Miracle Truss. Each of these bays is going to be 12 foot center to center. From the center of the column to the next center of the column, 12 foot on the middle bay. So on the side bays, it's 11.8. So I need to go ahead and cut all these 2x8s to exactly 12 foot because, as you know, with dimensional lumber, you don't really get 12 foot. You get like 12.25 foot. So we're going to cut it down to exactly 12 foot. That will give us a 2-inch overhang on each of the end columns past the clip. So we threw these up quickly because we were in a hurry.
Well, we were trying to stabilize all of these pieces here, yeah.
So I'm going to, the center one is cut to exactly what we need. We're going to go ahead and cut all these boards to exactly 12 foot. We're going to replace the end boards, and then everything we should be able to plumb from that point on. Just a little note to our future selves. Go ahead and pre-cut your girt boards and purlins to the exact measurement that they give you.
Yes. So
it'll make your life so much easier.
So you don't have to take it apart and put it back together.
Yeah, like we did. Our daughter just got back. We're on a very tight time frame. She's got another job. We have to.
She's so busy.
I know.
So busy.
So we only have 4 more columns that gotta go up, and we have all the wood cut. So we just gotta get it going.
Go, go, go!
my goodness, this is so new for us. What else should we share as we go to the next step?
Well, like we mentioned, read those instructions
Multiple times.
like 4 or 5 times. Make sure you know what you're doing before you start renting equipment and like getting into the middle of it. Make sure your columns and even the top truss pieces all match up with the letter number key on the drawings, and make sure to pre-cut that lumber so it's actually the right size.
It's an important step that we should have thought of.
I also think we really wish that we had the scissor lift during this step.
Yeah, it was really hard. And with our building being as tall as it is, being up on that scaffolding and trying to screw from the outside to the inside was incredibly difficult.
It was a little tricky. It was very awkward. And so I think we wish we had the scissor lift there a little bit earlier for that part of the process.
Good to know.
Yeah.
All in all, this step was pretty simple, but it's the next few days that are going to get a little interesting.
Yeah, like we mentioned, we've got to get some equipment in here to lift up those top truss pieces, put them into place, bolt them, and then get all the purlin pieces in.
Wish us luck.